Good morning, manna gatherers. It is already Thursday, February 11th. I hope your week has been going well. Our scripture text this week continues to be Song of Songs, chapter 2, verse 7, chapter 3, verse 5, chapter 8, verse 4. You pick it, they're all the same. Today I will be reading from the CEB translation of the Bible, that is the Common English Bible. Make a solemn pledge, daughters of Jerusalem. By the gazelles or the wild deer, don't arouse love until it desires. So one of my favorite things to do, as I have shared with you already many times before, I know you're probably tired of hearing about it, but one of my favorite things, nevertheless, especially on a beautiful day like it is today, is to run at Harbison State Forest. I love to escape to the woods for a good long run where I hardly encounter any humans. Actually, that's one of my goals. If you follow my Strava runs, every time Strava is an app that you can log in your runs. And when I put my run in there, I say, ooh, today was a good run. 0 humans encountered. Blank number of deer, because what I most often encounter in the woods are not human beings, not bipeds, but 4-legged creatures, deer. Deer with big white tails that point straight up. It is evident that the deer hear and see me long before I see them swiftly and gracefully bounding off further into the forest and further away from me, the lone human out there in the middle of the woods. They are timid creatures who, it seems to me, exercise extreme caution when it comes to any kind of human interaction. Well, at least these ones in Harbisons, because I know there are places where humans feed deer and therefore they do not exercise extreme caution. But the ones in Harbison seem to not to want to encounter any human beings. Only once in the 10 years that I have been running in Harbison has a deer stopped in its tracks and let me pass it by while it curiously watched me instead of the other way around. Only once has that happened. So like I said, often they have seen me long before I have seen them, because when I catch eye of them, they are already sneaking away so quickly and light-footed, hardly making a sound as they leap with grace and beauty. They are beautiful creatures. I often, when I'm thinking is, when I'm running those trails, to try to channel my inner deer and gracefully move through the forest like them. I know I don't look like them, but anyways, I guess that is what the Shulamite woman in Song of Songs means when she says, by the gazelles or the wild deer, before she cautions, do not arouse love until it desires. It is another way to say to us who are reading, approach love with caution. Approach love with even a sense of timidity, or even with a spirit of grace, much like the beautiful creatures that are deer and gazelle. I like the CEB translation of this verse in Song of Songs, because the Shulamite woman says, make a pledge to approach love in such a way, with caution, with timidity, with grace. I can hear one of my own sisters saying to me, promise me you'll wait, you'll not rush in to love. One of mine and my 3 sisters' favorite movies growing up was indeed called Fools Rush In. You might have seen it. It's a movie with Matthew Perry and Selma Hayek. It is an example of what can happen when you do arouse or awaken love before it is meant to be. Of course, in Hollywood, as it always seems to happen, everything works out beautifully in the end of Fools Rush In. But here's the truth. Life is not Hollywood. As much as we want it to be and dream it to be sometimes, it is not Hollywood, our lives. What we don't see is life in Song of Songs. What we don't see is life between this man and woman after, beyond their love poem and their confession of love to one another. But I think we should believe that such a love as we read of throughout Song of Songs between these two people means that their love was everlasting, weathering the ups and downs of life, that the Shulamite woman took her own precaution, her own advice, her own wisdom, and had not opened or aroused love until she met her beloved she is talking to in Song of Songs. A love that is initially approached with a bit of caution and timidity, of light-footedness, helps make sure your love, our love, has a good foundation, whatever love you are pursuing. Promise, says the Shulamite woman, do as I have done. Ease into your love, approaching with caution until you are absolutely sure. It is a beautiful image to me, but also evidence. I'm going to get a little bit sarcastic, I guess, or anyways, I think it's evidence that in no way could this poem have been written by King Solomon. Clearly, I don't think he was a man who took the Shulamite woman's advice. He was a man, after all, with 700 wives and 300 concubines. So if we want to give Solomon a little bit of benefit of the doubt or grace, then maybe this poem was written by wife number 700. Maybe 999 other times Solomon was the fool who rushed in, awakening love before it desired, and it took him 999 women to understand what love was not, because he found love in the 700th woman. Maybe the Shulamite's poem is about Solomon and his decision to rush in. Let that be our cautionary tale. By the gazelles or the wild deer, she says, do not arouse love until it desires. Be cautious, be timid, be graceful, be light-footed. I will see you tomorrow, manna gatherers.